Welcome to another edition of the program Talking Politics on Independent Television Abuja. My name is Bernard said. On this edition of the program, we'll be looking at security issues in Nigeria, most especially since we are in a democracy, the political will, the capacity, and most especially you will really say maybe the lack of fund or budgetary provisions when it has to do with issues of battling and handling the issues of insecurity and banditry in the society. We really know that the banditry has to some extent grown in some geopolitical regions of the country, but the capacity, the wherewithal, and the tenacity to see how these particular issues can be resolved is what we'll be looking at on today's edition of the program, and most especially the issue of screening the new Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa. Want to really see how several ministers of defense have been able to do justice to the issues of insecurity, and that is what we'll be looking at. And my guests will be joining me shortly. Stick around. My name is Bernard Esiet. Joining me on the program Talking Politics this morning on Independent Television is General Peter Aru, retired MNI PhD. He's my guest on the program as we'll be looking at the issues of insecurity, and side by side the appointment of General Christopher Musa, his portfolio, his qualification, and the political will to trash out or decimate all this banditry within the regions of the country. Good morning, sir, and welcome, General, sir.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
All
Thank you
right,
to have me.
all right. Thank you for joining me on the program. We want to really ask, since you are a your knowledge when it has to do with the issue of security, we want to know the general behavior of what exactly is the causes of this insecurity. Is it lack of funds, or maybe people just feel that they are frustrated and they want to take the opposite direction?
Thank you very much. I think it's multifaceted. It's so much depends on where we want to analyze the causes. We talk about insurgency in the northeast. The causes can be different from the banditry in the north central, banditry in the southeast, southwest, and some other parts of the nation. We talk about the northwest crisis. There could be other reasons that could be responsible for that. The most important reason is that when you have a lot of ungoverned spaces, people will take advantage of those spaces, and over a period of time, they will now start fomenting trouble for the nation. Like that of the northeast thereabout. That's the case of insurgents.
Mm,
But unfortunately, those people, they are kids and kings there in the northeast, even
mm,
though they have some foreign fighters there, but they are kids and kings, and the elders, they are not even doing. I don't think they are doing enough and things like that. Everybody's left to the federal government. But one way or the other, they should have their own coat of responsibilities
okay.
when it comes to that. And the same thing in the southeast, in the southwest, in the north central. I mean, the governors, the local now, the local government is almost, it's hard. They say it's autonomous, and the local government should be felt. The local government area should local government chairman should make sure that people know that there is governance around that area. Why must you collect money and go and sit down in the state capital and nobody is calling you to order? You see, when you leave, and again, the crisis um, of the economy to a large extent is biting really hard on some people. And when they find an easy way to make money after they have taken so much drugs, they'll just go. That it becomes an avenue for them to just vent their anger.
It becomes an avenue for them to vent their anger. And if this persists, what will be the perception of the nation, since we are in a democratic space? Do you think the politicians or the political will to decimate this individual, is the political will there? And the international community will look as if you are just trying to maybe kill people without considering human right also, sir.
That is the point. You see, sometimes you have to close your mind to the international community because it's your own sovereign nation. And if you want to get it right and have a nation where everybody will be prosperous, everybody will be happy, you have to take right decisions. Yeah, they said it's not illegal to talk. It's not too right. It's too not too morally right to talk about the death sentences. Honestly, death sentences on cases in Nigeria should just be approved. They should pass it in the National Assembly. And if it is passed, people will know that come, I'm taking a lot of risk, and they will not do that. It will be limited to a large extent. If you remember the time when during the UNISO and during the military era, it was death sentence, and it everything reduced drastically. So they should just look at themselves in the faces and say the truth. People, what is actually happening is it doesn't have respect for anybody, no matter who you are. It does not have respect, and if it's not curtailed now, the consequences will be too right.
If it is not curtailed now, the consequences will be alarming. But do you really think the previous Minister of Defense has resigned, and we have the likes of General Christopher Musa, who has been shortlisted for that position? A man like General Christopher Musa on uniform, and now without uniform, will the skills be different?
Yeah, I think you should look at the antecedents. If you look at when General Obasanjo was there, his first Minister of Defense was General Danjuma. And for everywhere we had uprising, it was curtailed in a very reasonable manner because he could translate the presidency idea, the civilian idea, and mold it to the military. Now, he had the courage of telling the president the truth because it's not partisan. And he has the authority of telling the military, this is what the president wants. Nobody can come and tell him these things are not available. I know these things are available. I want to make sure that I want to get results. You see, the president does not have the idea of how the military works. He explains to him, but no matter how much he's explained to him, he might not understand. But as a retired general that is non-partisan, he tells them this is what we want and this is how we can achieve the whole thing. And there will be unnecessary procurement will not be there. It looks at the budget of Ministry of Defense and buys what is right, what is needed. The defense policy will be shaped in such a way that we will now know that the military has now been told to fight asymmetric warfare. Their table of equipment will be different. The weapons that will be needed to fight to curtail the insurgency and everything will be different. So it's going to be a new birth in Nigeria.
Well, it's going to be a new batch, sir. You do know also when you look at the budget for defense, when we call the likes of the United States of America, you think of their aircraft like the B-2 Spirit bomber, for example, where an aircraft will come into a country even without the radar, the airspace detecting it. Do we have that kind of budget for such defense tools?
Yeah, I think it's a gradual thing. You can't just look up to the world power and say you want to be like them. No, it's a gradual thing. And this now calls for the presidency or the National Assembly of politicians to know that defense is no joke. For everything they do, they must consider the budget of the defense. I mean, thank God the presidency had told them that the VIPs will no longer go with police escorts. Then everybody will now feel what the common man feels. And you will now know the importance of ensuring that the defense budget is appropriately given to such a way that everything that is necessary to actually stem the tide of banditry and insurgency will be there. Because once the nation is free of such things, everybody will be safe that something is happening. So, but we don't look at the budget of United States. But realistically, we should look at what the European Union has decided now. No, that one is actually with regards to Russia. But they said that you give about 2% of the whole budget to the defense. It will not be a bad place if that is done to defense, because we really, really, really need to keep up. And those people that have the oversight functions of ensuring that these things are purchased, they should do they should do their responsibility. People should not be looking at say, let me get contract, let me get. You see, the point when you start saying I want to get contract, you influence and you not get what is actually right. You have to get something that is substandard. But right now, there's a need for them to get what is right and what is needed.
Okay, let's go for this short break. When we come back, the show will continue. My guest is still General Peter Aro, retired MNI PhD, and we'll be looking at the emergence of General Christopher Musa as the Minister of Defense? Because in Nigeria, my guest was able to say during the period of Olusegun Obasanjo, the likes of T.Y. Danjuma was able to have a good profile of the best Minister of Defense. But let's look at, sir, how realistic can there be a timeline? The emergence of General Musa, like maybe 2 years time, 3 years time, these bandits can be decimated. Can there be a timeline, sir?
Yeah, of course there could be timeline. The presidency could just call him, I want this thing, I want to resolve within the next 3 months or 6 months. How you get it is your business. Go and get your result. Go and get your result. And he knows what to do because he had been in the operation. He knows the problems, he knows what to do, he knows how to translate the wants of the civilians to the military. And he tells them what to do and he guides them appropriately well.
But in the recent period, we have seen successes of the security agency, the war killing, and some other issues. Even there was a time where the pictures of these bandits were publicized, and so when you see such face in a motor park, in a garage, you should raise an alarm or call the security agency. But don't you think, sir, if General Musa, if the inability to use a different strategy, don't you think he may clash with politicians who may saying that this law is too strong? For example, there was a time that if you caught a bandit or payment of ransom, or you are part of the people, you will be given death penalty. Do you think Musa will be able to look at those laws and say, this one I must do irrespective of who is involved?
No, it's for him to stem the rise in banditry, insurgency. He's going to work in liaison with other departments.
Okay.
The person that is crucial to him is National Security Advisor, because he coordinates all the security and things like that. It's going to interface with him. Minister of Interior, the IG of the police, is going to interface with him. He's not going to do it alone, because naturally it is not the responsibility of the armed forces when it comes to internal security. But when we know, in this case now, it's more than what we think. The police had called the military, the president had directed the military to assist the police. So he's going to work in liaison with them. And don't forget, he's not making laws. He's not making laws, he's not prosecuting.
Okay.
His own is to make sure that the military does what he has to do. Okay. It's not left to the judiciary, to the executives and the lawmakers on how to carry it that far. But he's going to ensure that the military has what it takes to tackle this banditry.
Okay, do you think giving amnesty could be one of the best options?
Giving amnesty to who?
To the bandits, the repentant Boko Haram terrorist members, giving amnesty. What exactly do you think about that?
Oh my God. It's funny. Amnesty with regards to what? Yeah, it's funny. You give amnesty to somebody that beheaded somebody, that killed somebody openly and displayed. And even if you're under the influence of drugs and you're saying giving amnesty, I don't get it.
Okay.
Let me just put it this way, assuming, oh God, amnesty, you cannot, when something is somebody's DNA, it cannot change. There could be just a moment of lull in repentance. But it can come back again, because when he starts taking his drugs, he goes back to it again. It becomes a recurrent thing. But once you have consequences for such terrible acts, people will take you. They will be forced in their subconscious. There are consequences to this. I will not do it.
Okay, we have seen the consequences to this. We have seen in Nigeria, for example, the political will, like 2015, where the APC lost election and APC administration was able to come on board. But the lack of continuity, assuming this General Musa tried to give the best services and making sure that these people are eradicated in the society. If another government comes in the future and they clamor for human rights and say no, people are being killed excessively, that isn't the best option, that we should give them an opportunity to work, create an employment in the ecosystem, then they will not be engaged in that particular aspect. Do you think that should be the issue? That would be the best option?
You know, they have politicians have manifestos, political parties have manifestos, and it depends on their rallying point. And Musa or Minister of Defense will be working for the president.
You are not for political parties.
Yes, not for political parties. He's taking the directives from him, and he does what the president says he has to do. Thereabout, he gets result for the president. It's not like he's the politician or he's a political party that's directing him. No, the political party can be there, but for the political party to be relevant, they have to make sure that insecurity is, they stem the tide of insecurity. And let me tell you something, when it comes to the issue of national power, if you don't tackle insecurity, you will not have investors coming to your country. You will not have Nigerians repatriating funds to this country. You will not have an enabling environment for the economy to grow. So in essence, there's a need for it to stem the act of insecurity. Then if somebody comes tomorrow and says, because it's not him that passes this, it can make an input to consequences. It can make an input, for instance. And when it comes, they say, okay, well, from what has happened, they want to bring it down to whatever. That's as long as they can manage the crisis, it's okay. It's up to them.
Okay, as long as they can manage a crisis. But for you, if you are the president of this country, do you think if the likes of General Musa, since you are a security consultant, what advice or additional innovative tactics or strategy can you offer him if you are given the platform, apart from his vast experience as a former military officer, sir?
Yeah, he has to tell the president the truth. He has to be courageous enough to tell the president the truth. He has to ensure, because the new warfare is in the cyberspace, and you need a lot of ICT and AI to complement your effort. He has to make sure he uses all those things.
Assuming there is no, is there, we have seen the military, maybe they are sent or deployed in a place where there is no alternative power supply, where they can have alternative power supply, for example, to power their phones or gadgets. So what now happen? They might be relying on maybe a common generator that is normally called a pass my neighbor.
No. I think you don't know the concept of combat communication. Like we have a radio system that you don't have to use. The handsets are not allowed when it comes to combat communication, how you communicate. And you have replacement, you have your batteries, you have your battery charger. You don't need, they are composite in your vehicle. You see a man pack, even Americans, you see American, you took American soldier drive, that moves around. He moves with his radio, he puts it on him, and he communicates with that. There are various radios you can use. You can use the for long distances, the UHF radio, you use the VHF radio, UHF radio, military standardized radios.
Okay.
They are encrypted and nobody can interfere, nobody can interrupt, nobody can put anything on it. You get your communication, it continues. And let me tell you one thing. If you can get your communication right, and you can get your surveillance systems right, and get your intelligence right, you have the eyes, and they don't have the eyes. You take advantage of that, and you know what you have to do. Because I believe this insurgency that's happening, I have not seen it hardcore evidence, but I know there are some persons or some powers supporting them, because it's like they have an eye in the sky. But how do terrorists attack simultaneously in so many places and the military presence is not there? That means they have the eyes in the sky that is seeing the deployment of Nigerian armed forces. But if you have the corresponding eyes in the sky too, you can see them, you can see their movement, and you know what to do. It becomes easy.
But more so, looking at, before we go, it looks as if terrorism seems to be a global thing, because I don't understand the likes of, for example, let me just say the late Osama bin Laden and other splinter group, where they are operating. They don't have a corporate office where they operate from. They don't have where they are going for visa interview, for example, as a terrorist at the airport, and they are granted interview, granted visa, and they travel to another country and they are operating very well with it without the limit of geography. How is it easy for them to crisscross all the borderlines in the world?
First and foremost, they have the fund, and they have created cells. They call some of them that are not active sleeping cells. For every time they will now want to do something, they deactivate that cell. You'll be surprised that they have a lot of sleeping cells in Abuja.
So
But
how do you call, what do you call sleeping cells to our viewers?
what I'm trying to say is that they have collection of people that have infiltrated the populace, and they know their target. They are moving around. They collect. See, they are very patient. They collect information continuously. That is why the security people do not rest on their hours. They will make a mistake, and the security persons can get them. You see, you are underestimating what the SSS has. Department of State Security. You are underestimating what they have. You are underestimating DIA. You are underestimating military intelligence, naval intelligence, police intelligence. They have a lot of information, and they know how to go about the whole thing. If there is that political way, and tell them we want this regardless of whose axe is God, they will do. They will do the needful.
Okay, they will do the needful. And if what is your wish for General Christopher Musa? I will say is in the same constituency with you. What is your wish for him? And I know you wouldn't want him to fail too.
Yes, I will pray for him, and at the same time, I will tell him that to find his ways of communicating with the retired officers that he knows that have the wherewithal to support his regime. And you see, he should find a way of trying to have many. It might be very unconventional. In all the states of the federation, he tried to pick out some retired officers who are willing, that work on the background in the states to get things done very well. What I'm trying to say is that in each of the states we have a lot of retired, because the armed forces has a geographical spread. So in each of the states, let him reach out the retired army officers right now and discuss with them on the need in a very clandestine manner for the officers to be injected, for them to give him objective information about what is happening.
Will that be on a volunteer basis, or they will have to be paid salaries?
The officers are willing to volunteer. I, for one, am willing to volunteer. You don't have to pay me, because this is a nation. My children will ask me tomorrow that what did I do, or my grandchildren, what did you do to help to stem the tide of banditry in Nigeria? People are willing to volunteer. And if the other ones that feel that they have to be given remunerations, you can give it to them. Okay, of course, they pay for intelligence. You can also find a way of giving it like a welfare package. This is what you are retired, but you are not tired. And you know you have commitment to. You see, the armed forces is holding this nation. The armed forces has a lot of commitment to this nation. It's the only in the armed forces you find it very difficult to discriminate where anybody comes from. Just perform your duties very well. The same thing goes after service. We are still very committed. So he flies around, tells them, and he gets information. Before anything knows, he has gotten what he needs.
I remembered what you just said when the Federal Road Safety Corps was established. It was the retired armed forces that were the pioneer employees of that organization. I think I remembered very well. All right, sir. I am so grateful for joining me on the program Talking Politics, and your wealth of knowledge and what you really need to do on how Nigeria can work. I'm so grateful. My guest is General Peter Aro, retired MNI PhD, a security consultant. We were able to discuss the issue of General Chris Musa, and generally the issue of insecurity in some spaces in the country. My name is Bernard Ese. Join me for another edition of the program. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. God bless you.